The experience I shared in that narrative was a starting point for me in many ways, more ways than I can explain in the next 6.5 minutes. But I think it's important to start there. So we're going to go back to middle school. I'm shy, quiet, and in 7th grade. I never raised my hand in class. I go to the bookstore with my family one weekend, and I find a book about the Armenian genocide. I was instantly hooked. I read it cover to cover before the next morning. My mind could not wrap around the fact that I had not learned about it in my history classes, and no one I asked knew what it was. So I started doing more research, read a lot of books, and asked a lot of questions. Eventually, my teachers started to ignore my constantly raised hand. We've all found something that we loved: gospel music, baseball, theater. And we all know the feeling of excitement and empowerment when we're immersed in those experiences. But how many of them happen in school? My sister's 10th grade teacher invited me to speak to her class about the Armenian genocide, and she quickly became a mentor to me. She taught me how to present, how to check my sources, and that it was okay to question the status quo. And I still use those skills to this day. We know that with the state of the education system, these authentic learning experiences are being cut out of the school day. And I'm sure we all know what it's like to be disengaged from our learning. Some of us may have seen this impact on the students in our classrooms or the young people in our lives. Let's take a minute to imagine what school would be like if it included these experiences. Tony Chanel, a 5th grader in Chelsea, she makes stop animation films with her iPhone and Legos over the weekend, and then comes to school on Monday and gets to work with programmers from Digitas in an apprenticeship to create a computer game. And she's so engaged with what she's doing, she works on it on the weekends and is eventually invited to the White House Science Fair to present. Or Hasiel, a 6th grader who just can't quite seem to get it together in class, takes a debate apprenticeship and realizes that he wants to be a lawyer and shakes his teacher's hand at the end of the day because now he knows why he needs to focus in class. Every student deserves to have an experience like this. We're all upset with the status quo. We all know our education system needs a shift. So let's take a minute to stop and acknowledge our privilege to change the way we're making decisions for ourselves and our students. If we don't, we'll be stuck like this for another 100 years. So let's commit to change. Now, I'm definitely about to ask you to teach an apprenticeship. There's no way I wasn't going to put a plug in for that here. But first, I want to talk to you about something else. Let's go back to this part about questioning the status quo. That's why we're all here in this program. We're not happy with it. And we've tackled and grappled with some really tough questions this year. How do we support our students in a systemically racist system? How do we persevere when we feel like we've hit a wall everywhere we turn? We work with colleagues who refuse to check their privilege at the door, principals who are drowning in bureaucracy, a lack of leadership and collective vision, and limited resources. It's overwhelming. And we've all found a haven here with like-minded educators. And before I started this program, I felt like giving up. I'd become quiet and lost confidence in my voice. Like apprenticeships, this program brought learning back into my day-to-day work. And growing with you all this year has empowered me to speak up and keep asking questions. I feel like my 7th grade self again, with my hand always raised. It's given me the confidence to ask the leaders of my school and my organization to support the process of change, to be able to let go of my own ideas and find new ones, the humility to hear students and take their advice with what's best for them, and most of all, given me the confidence to take on the task of changing a culture of a school and an organization, a partnership and a team, which requires me to stand strong, not only with my voice, but with my actions. And you all have been mentors to me, and this experience is what inspired me to ask my school community to be mentors for the students. But we're about to embark on our solo journeys, and we won't have our monthly meetings to come back to collaborate and rejuvenate for the next month ahead. In 2 days' time, in 2 days' time, we'll be faced with carrying on the role of being change makers in our society, in our schools, our places of work. Remember, just as students are engaged with their learning, when their passions come into the school day, this is our passion, and we need to bring it back to our place